But hey, the theme for 2023 is right now, because I believe firmly that your opportunity is right now, right? I said this, we're at the turn of a temporal boundary. So when do you call your database? Yesterday, right? Right now, we need to be having those conversations. And right now is the easiest time to have those conversations. Hey, one of the things I committed to in the new year is I just want to stay in touch with the good people of my life. And I'm sorry, I haven't called you in like 6 months, and that's on me. What's going on? Boom, that's your script, right? It's easy. Is it true? It's absolutely true. I'm a terrible friend, right? But that's right? But we all are. And every person in your database is just as busy as you are. And so when you call them and you say, I'm sorry, I haven't reached out to you in 6 months, you know what? They didn't reach out to you either, right? And so it's okay. You're the one you're doing the good thing. And so reconnect. Find out what's going on in their lives. They're going to ask you about the real estate market because that's what happens when you're in real estate. And so you can tell them what's going on, right? If you don't know, talk to one of the other agents in the office. If you don't know, it's different. We can talk about that. We'll do a market update a little bit later this month. But don't hesitate. Make those calls. You know, commit to X number of contacts every day, and then just make the calls, right? Right now. Because right now there are people getting ready to sell their houses or to buy new houses. Homes are going under contract. And Brent was just saying this before the meeting, that Brent's on the Pivot call every morning. We know Brent and Alice are like, you know, they're legends in that community, right? And what are you hearing from around the market, Brent, about what's going on right now?
So yeah, the one thing that we noticed, that we had an open house on a home that, for some reason, a single-story home, you would have thought it would have, you know, gone quickly, and it wasn't. And so Alice went ahead and had it restaged by a professional stager. We had 12 people through there, and we have multiple offers on the home. And what we're hearing with this national call that we have with agents all across the country, open houses all of a sudden are flooded with people. And so you've got that opportunity. Get that listing, get that open house going so that you can get your clients the best possible price. As we keep talking about prices maybe coming down in that, interest rates are fluctuating, we don't know. This will be something they can know. So make sure that you're, you know, if you don't have a listing, find out who does, and can I do an open house for you? All right?
Yep, absolutely. There's your perspective from top producing agents, and from the national perspective, the power of a temporal boundary. People are out there. Take advantage of it. Get to your open houses. So right now. Now, one of the things I want to talk about with right now is this is the time of year where we have permission to set lofty goals, right? Is anyone going to buy a lotto ticket tonight? It's like over $1 billion, right?
Again?
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. I will tell you, I am going to buy a ticket. Now, I'm only going to buy one because, for me, I like to buy lotto tickets because, and I said this at our emerging agent brunch yesterday, so I apologize for the repeat, but I like having the license to dream big, right? What would I do if I had that money? It's a fun game for me. My wife doesn't like to play the game because she gets invested and it bothers her. For me, I'm like, oh yeah, what do I do this time, right? And what foundations I would set up, and how would I, you know, whose lives would I impact, and how could I let this money not destroy people, and all those kind of things, right? I love license to dream. The beginning of a year gives you license to dream and to set goals, right? It gives you license to look at the year that was and say, I can do better. And I love that, because we can look at our future self and we can project everything onto that person, every positive thing onto that person, and we can say, future self, you're amazing, right? Future self, you are so much better than last year's self. Future self, we're going to kick butt this year, right? And I love that. So do me a favor, would you just turn to the people around you, maybe get in a group of like 3, and if you would just kind of share some of your goals for 2023. They can be production goals, they can be life goals, but talk amongst yourselves if you would. Go. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Count back from 5 to 1. When I get to 1, I'll need the room quiet and focused up here. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Man, you would think you guys hadn't talked to each other in a couple weeks. It is, man, I tell you, I say this, maybe I use the word love too much, but the collaboration that takes place in this office is like no other. Let's leverage that. So tell me about it. What are some of those lofty goals? What are some of the things that you'd like to achieve in 2023? Who wants to talk? Don't be like a junior high school class. Let's go. Oh, Christina, yes, okay.
So I had 16 closing pending last year, so my goal is 23 this year.
All right, so you had 16 last year. Your goal is 23. All right, good. 23 for 2023. It's the year of Michael Jordan. Okay, good. What else? What else? Lofty goals for 2023. Anybody? Yeah, Shri, did you raise your hand? Or you waved at someone. You made a mistake. There you go. Okay, good, yeah. No passing notes. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. All right, so you said 24 units is your goal, and we hedged that a little bit. Well, let's be realistic. We'll shoot for 1. I would say stick with 24.
24. I just liked
Right.
Alice, and I said 12, and I
Right.
went 24.
Because here's the thing, right? There you go. Because if you get 24 and you fail and you only get 12, it was a good year for you, yeah? Absolutely. So set yourself up for failure to be a success by having lofty goals, right? And that's great. Good. What else? What are some other goals for this year? Brent?
I want to steal Chris's winning lottery ticket.
Yeah. You'll have a hard time finding me. No, he said he wanted to steal my winning lottery ticket, so for the people at home.
So I'm going to look at the personal side of things. You know, we want to pay off our home this year, and that's a big deal. You know,
Yeah.
we're getting close. But also I want to buy my wife a luxury car. She deserves it.
All right.
So be able to do something.
Yeah.
She deserves that, Jeep.
So, yep.
Snatch right off, baby.
So Brent is looking to pay off the house and buy Alice a luxury car. I love that. Good. All right. So if you hear me repeating things, there is an audience at home, and so they pick it up through my mic occasionally. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm not just really, really strange. Okay. Good. Christina. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's funny. I don't know why, but I'm that kid where all of those junior high school assemblies hit. I'm that kid. I'm the one, right? And I just remember this from junior high. Somebody saying it's better to shoot for the stars than for a pile of manure, right? Shoot for the stars and miss, that's great. Shoot for a pile of dung and hit, ta-da, right? And so aim high, aim high. Another quote that stuck with me my whole life is the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken, right? And that is a quote that I think of all the time for good and for bad. The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. We want to create habits that are too heavy to be broken that generate the lifestyles we want to lead. Anybody else with a goal for 2023? Rose. Yep, and then I'll come to you, Cowboy. Rose is going to get her broker's license this year. Yeah. All right. Good deal. All right. And then Tony.
Same thing, I already sent my application for my brokers.
There you go. We got 2 brokers in the room. Very good. All right. Good deal. Anybody else before we close up our goals? So the reason I'm asking about your goals is if you do not have a plan, if you don't have a destination, you can't chart a course, right? I have to know where I want to go if I'm ever going to get there. Now, I will say that's true. Now, it's also more important, I think, to love the journey than the destination. But knowing where I'm going gives me a place to go. But knowing where I want to go isn't enough for me to get there. And that's where the 135 comes in. Now, I emailed this out to everybody in the Market Center yesterday. It is a simple tool that I would like to go over with you right now. And so if you printed it out, that's fantastic. If you didn't, you can take and apply this at home. But you know, I've said this before, Keller Williams has a system for everything, right? And one of the things I love about Keller Williams systems is they make success easier. Now, success is not simple, but it is easy. If you have an easy, then you just run, you just run it. Success is not easy. It's simple, but make it easier, and that's better. So 135 breaks down like this. What is your one thing for 2023? Right, for Brent and Alice, it's pay off the house and buy Alice a luxury car. That's the one thing, right? And so we're going to start with What is my one thing? It might be 36 units. It might be 24 or 23 units. It might be 24 units. I don't know, right? But if I don't know what this is, and I'm not firmly committed to this, I know I won't get there. Because success doesn't happen on accident, right? Success, you can feel like success happened by chance, but success happened because you were prepared to take advantage of the opportunities, right? So, what is my one thing for 2023? That's the first thing we're going to start with on our 135. But knowing that, like I said, isn't going to get me there. I have to have a plan to get there. Anybody use Google Maps or Waze? Right? Okay, when you route your direction someplace, does it always give you only one path? No, a lot of times it has alternate routes, right? Why? Because we want to be prepared for if something doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And so when we go to the 3, what we look at are, if I'm going to achieve that one thing, what are my 3 priorities to get there? And I can't spell or write, so I apologize. So 3 priorities. So for instance, if I want to sell 36 homes this year, then I have to have a plan to do that. And so my priority number 1 might be my database. I would argue that's probably your best to start. And I would set a production number for your database. I would like to do 24 units out of my database this year. And so that's priority number 1. I'm just pulling this out of the air right now. I want you to give some thought to these priorities. That's going to be my database. Boom, right? That's a great start. I could say I want to do 36 from my database, and I think that would be a great start, right? But I want to have alternate routes. I know that I'm probably going to need a cocktail to get there. I'm going to need some other priorities. So then I would have my second priority. And so that might be, I'm going to get 12 transactions from open houses, right? So let's just say, I'm just pulling this out of the air right now. Right? And so that will get me there, right? If I do that, that's my plan. Now, I might want to put a buffer in because it's easier to shoot high than to shoot low, right? And then my third priority, I'm going to just argue that the third priority would, for most cases, be expand my database, right? Because we know that people who have 201 or 201 plus contacts are averaging over 6 incomes. If you've got 201 contacts or over 201 contacts in command, then you're part of a group that averages 6 figures of income, right? And so for most of us, and if you look at the trend, the more contacts, the more income. And so if I want to build that up, then I got to build my database, right? And I would probably give myself a number. So depending on where you're at, I'd say build to, for me, I'm just going to say 500. I want to build the 500 contacts in my database. Now, these are still in the realm of dreams, right? Because goals are easy, and we all assume the best of future self. And I can say 24 units out of my database, and that's very easy to say, right? I can say I'm going to do 12 units from open houses and then not do an open house that entire year, right? Or I could maybe do 1 a month. 1 a month isn't going to get me 24 units, right? So, and I can say I'm going to put 500 people in my database, and I cannot talk to a single soul other than the one I'm married with or raising, right? And I won't add anyone to my database. So we've got a big goal. It's a dream or a vision. We've got 3 priorities, but they're still dreams or visions. And where the rubber meets the road now is we have 5 strategies to achieve these priorities. Does that make sense? So what would a strategy to get 24 units from your database be? What? Make the calls. All right, so like the DTD2, right? So DTD2, do the database 2, right? Meaning I'm going to call everyone in my database a one-to-one contact conversation at least once a quarter. And we know that that one tool has the power to generate business. It's probably the most important tool that you can employ in your database. What's another strategy that you can run in your database to get your 24 units from your database? Events. Yeah, absolutely. Client events. Totally. I would make that client events. I would even go down, I would drill down on it. How many? Quarterly? Is it monthly? What does that mean to you? Because me saying client, again, me saying client events, right? But if I say I'm committed to doing a client event for Christmas and a client event for summer, and I put deposits down on those things, they're going to happen. If I say I'd like to do client events, it's not going to happen. So be very specific about what you want, right? Okay, so client events. So put a number there. I'm just going to do this real quick. Right, a number. What's that? Right. Right. Okay, so hold on. So you're saying piggyback with Chamber of Commerce events and client events? Yeah, totally. What you can do for client events is limitless. But that's a good strategy. What's another strategy?
Note cards.
Note cards. Yeah, handwritten notes. Absolutely. 555, right, Alice? And 5 contacts a day is what Alice is doing, and 5 handwritten notes, and then 5 face-to-face? Or what is it? I remember, what was it? It was 551? I can't remember. A couple face-to-faces, yeah. But handwritten notes.
Go out and do it.
Yep. But handwritten notes, right? And I would say handwritten notes, I might put on that line 36 touch or 42 touch. And then I would have to drill down and see what that is and incorporate that into that touch program. And then what would my last 2 be, right? See, what I'm pointing out here is I've said this is where I want to be. I've said if I'm going to get there, then these things have to happen. And now I'm saying I'm not going to leave these things a chance. I'm not going to just have one strategy. I'm going to have 5 strategies to make those things happen for each one of them. So open houses, what would I have to do? Well, I'd have to commit to doing X number of open houses. So let's just say 3 open houses a month, 36 open houses, right? I'm just throwing that out there. So 36 open houses. And you're going to determine these things. 36 open houses. I would probably then have to commit to circle prospecting around my open houses, right? So not door knocking around those open houses. That's a strategy I could use, right? I probably should create some kind of an 8x8 campaign, 8 touches in 8 weeks, to stay in contact with that database, the people who show up, right? Because I want to bring them into my database, and I better be sure I'm moving those people over here into my database, right? So those are strategies. There are other strategies too, you know. And so that's the thing is what are the 5 ways I'm going to make that happen? And then building my database, same thing. Your business is not going to look exactly like this scratch pad because you probably have decent penmanship. It's not going to look exactly, you know, exactly like this. But this system will get you where you want to be. Now, this is the first step. Setting my one thing and then setting my priorities and my strategies is the first step. But this can also die a death that doesn't do anything. And so the second step then is your 411. And the 411 we're going to talk about next week. If you're not using it, or even if you are, I'd like you to be here for that, because the 411 is where we take our strategies and we take our priorities and now we commit to our goals each week. Right? And so if I'm going to do my DTD2, then on my 411, it would probably say have 20 conversations every day, right? Or 20 conversations every day would be one of my daily goals for the week. And we'll get over how that moves your business forward. But right now, this week, what I would like every agent in this market center to commit to is get a 135. I sent you the worksheet. I want you to do it. If you are staring at a blank worksheet and you're saying, I know where I want to go, but I have no idea how to get there. I don't know what the strategic priorities are. I don't know what the strategies are. Then that's why you're at Keller Williams. Reach out to other agents in this market center. Come into the market center and let them help you set those strategies. Talk to myself. Talk to one of our ALC members, right? They're going to help you get there. Because we all want you to succeed, period. There's not a person in this market center who is rooting against you, right? Every single person wants you to succeed at a high level. If David Borja does 36 units this year, Brent and Alice are not going to be upset, right? They're going to be stoked, just like me, just like everybody, right? Sam and Elisa are not going to be like, well, how come David's doing all this business, right? No, Sam and Elisa are probably going to take him out to lunch, right? That's right? That's because that's our culture. So if you're staring at a blank sheet, talk to one of our agents, one of the people who are a couple steps ahead of you. Talk to me. Talk to one of our team members, right? We want you to get there. So pick your destination. What's your one thing? The one thing I didn't talk about here is, and I think this is really important, and it's one of those things that I've been taught in coaching or counseling, is to ask why, right? We always talk about our big why, and I hate big whys personally because I never know. The way you find your big why is you just keep asking why. I want to do 50 units this year. Why? Because I don't know. Well, what would that do for you? What would 50 units mean to you? Well, it would mean a lot of money. Okay. Why is that important? Well, a lot of money would help me not to be stressed out. Okay, why is that important? Because if I'm not stressed out, I'll probably have a better relationship with my family. Why is that important? Because I want to, and you get to that why, and then finally you say, I'm working for this, right? It's never the money. Because money is good for the good that it can do. But your why is bigger than that, right? So that's why I encourage you, as you're figuring these things out, it's okay to pick a money goal. I love it. Yes, please. This is why we're here. We're in business to make profit. But ask yourself why. Why is that important to me? What would that do? Fall in love with that thing, right? So I've mentioned this before. One of my whys is I want to be and I'm 46, I want to be the grandparent who can take my grandkids to Disneyland, or who can pay for my kids to take my grandkids to Disneyland without my grandkids knowing that I paid for it, right? That's what I want to do. I want to be that person. I want Grandma and Grandpa's house to be magical, right? And that sounds so silly, but that's part of why? Because I had that, and I want my kids to have that, right? So that's part of my why. I don't know what yours, but I'm in love with that, right? That gets me up in the morning, and I don't like getting up in the morning, right? So find your why, fall in love with your why. 3 priorities to achieve your one thing, 5 strategies to achieve your priorities, and that brings us to the end of our content. Any questions or comments on the 135? Any ahas? Do me a favor, talk to each other, discuss your ahas. And Mark, get set, go. With your mouth parts. Okay, good. All right, guys. All right, come on back. All right, counting back from 5 to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody back. All right. So, anybody want to share anything that stood out to them about the 135?